Uh, Hello everyone. Today we start with C programming. So the contents of the course is Introduction to C programming, functions and arrays, pointers and memory management, structure unions enumerations, file IO, and we'll deal with one project, how to do a project, and what are the frequently asked questions about the project in interviews. Okay. The first topic is Introduction to C program. We'll be covering these topics in it. Overview of C language, setting up the development environment to do the coding, basic syntax and structure, how C is do the programming for programming, and control structures. So let's start with in any programming language, right? We have to understand the how this language got evolved. So let's keeping that thought in our mind, start with overview of C language. The C language is general purpose and it's a oriented program oriented language. It's a structured oriented language and it doesn't depend on any mission type while running the program. It needs just a compiler to compile whatever the instructions we have written in the program for understanding the missions. Initially, it was developed by Dennis Rich in 1972 in AT&T Bell Laboratories. The thought they have developed this language is to work with Unix operating system. Unix is the same like Linux operating system. So this is a thought process they have kept initially. Okay. The main usage of this feature, the main feature and usage of this C language is it's a low level memory access and can have high level memory access as well. Low level in the sense it can access the registers, vary the register values, and it can access dynamic memory allocations as well, which is nothing but high level memory access. It supports various built-in functions, standard libraries, and header files. These are already present and well written for us. We can just import those libraries and access the functions in it. It's a top to down bottom approach. It's not down to top approach. As it's a structure oriented programming language. So it's a top to down bottom approach. Many languages were written after following C language. They were derived. Basics of the programming language is derived from Algo. Algo language is nothing but algorithmic language. That is the first programming language developed. From that Algo language, B language is developed. From that B language, C language is developed. So, Algo language and B language has various flaws, which doesn't present in C programming language. That is the reason every programming language has been derived from C programming language. For example, C++ is also derived from C programming language, which is a superset of the C language. And most of you know that C programming language is very much used in system level applications. System level applications, for example, if you want a driver to be developed for your Windows machine, then preferably coders use a C language to develop the drivers as it interacts with the hardware. That is the reason one beautiful example for that is embedded systems. Most of the embedded systems, 95% of embedded system programming runs on C. So that is also called as flavored of C, which is embedded C. So we have talked about how this C programming gone evolved. Let us understand how this programming works. It works with the 5 steps. There are 5 steps involved in it. The first one is you have to write a program, obviously. Once you write the program is nothing but a set of instructions you will be writing in a plain English language. Once you are done with it, then you run the program. While running the program, something called pre-processing will happen. In that pre-processing stage, wherever the header files, inbuilt functions you have used, that will be mapped during this pre-processing time. And next step is a compilation program. Compilation is nothing but, let's say you have written a coding program and it has some errors in it. Once you get an error, it should throw up an error, right? So how a machine or a compiler is also a program, okay, by the way, will identify whether it is correct or not. Compiler has a standard instruction set, which is nothing but SIS. This SIS will verify or correlate the instruction whichever we have given during this program. If that instruction during correlation is having any mistake, let's say we have missed colon, we have missed equal to something in that instruction, it will immediately highlight that error and notifies the user. If that is not happening, then it should not process further. So user has to, rewrite or correct his mistake and run the program again. For that purpose, compiling has two steps. It should check whether it has syntax errors or not. If it is not having any syntax errors, then it should link the system library functions. As I said, it has various templates, libraries, and inbuilt functions in it. Those functions also has to be linked while compiling and running the function. Now, once you are done with that stage, linking the program with the functions in the C library is done. Then to understand the machine, here the machine can be a laptop or a desktop or a Unix Linux machine or a Windows machine or a Mac machine, whatever machine can be. It just understand object code. So compiler compiles the .c file and generates the object code file that gives the input to the machine. Then the object code file gets executed. If it doesn't have any errors, then it gets executed. Output will be shown in the terminal. These are the 5 steps involved in C programming. If you see the flowchart over here, let me give a quick glance of this flowchart. Once your system is ready, that means once your laptop or a desktop powered up and you have a C environment, dev environment is enabled, you will write a program and you edit whatever program you are having, save the file and click on the run button. Then it gets compiled. During compilation, if you have any syntax errors, then object code doesn't get generated. It will show the errors to you, the user, and user has to reevaluate his program and change the errors that is being shown by C compiler. Once that is done, again the process remains same. If there is no further errors in the program, then the functions which are present in the systematic library, in the C library, they will get linked directly to the program and gets executed using object code, which is .o. The extension of that file is called object code. Once that is also done, if any input is needed from the user, you have to provide the input. If it is not needed, just it will execute and it will provide you the output. In every stage, if we are having any errors, then it won't provide you the output. It will throw you an error. Error is nothing but a mistake or the thing that have to be there, but it is not there. That particular thing has to be present, will be notified to the user to edit your source program. So these are the steps involved while compiling the C program. Let's go further. What are the several applications for using C program were derived? C can be used to design browsers. Initial days of Chrome browser, Mozilla Firefox were designed using C program. Unix operating system is strongly linked with C programming. You can design any operating system using C programming because of that robustness. C language can be used to, develop the games as well for our smartphones, Android mobiles. And we can say that most of the databases, Oracle, SQL, MySQL, MS SQL, MS is nothing but Microsoft SQL, PostgreSQL, these all databases can also be designed using C programming. So let's see. We just started the C programming, right? Let's see one basic program, which is also Hello World program, introduced to the C. So how it looks like. So every C program, as I said it's a top to down bottom approach. Now, initially it will have includes functions, includes stdio.h. It is nothing but stdio.h is a header file that is already written in our standard library. std is nothing but standard IO is nothing but standard input output. H is nothing but header file. .h is extension of this particular file. I want that file to be included in my current file. I am going to use some of the function that is present in this particular header file. For that purpose, I need to include this function, this particular file. For that purpose only, #include is needed. Whatever the inclusions that are needed during this program, you need to present #include. Next one is the main function. Main function is C programming always starts with main. Wherever the main function is there, that is a starting point for the C programming. That means here main function is there. If enters, you should write open and closed flower bracket. These are called as curl braces. These curl braces are start of your program. These curl braces are start of your program. Whatever present inside these curl braces gets compiled, or also called as instructions. These are the instructions that been executed once you write a program. Good to go. Now, here it's a basic program, right? So we just have used printf. Printf is a function which is present in standard input output header file. The definition of this function, what this function exactly does, what it do. It shows the string, this particular welcome to the C programming, once it gets executed in the terminal. How it does basically. The process of doing this is present in standard input output header file, stdio.h. That is the reason we have included it. We don't need to write specifically a code to print this particular line in the terminal. It is already written. That function is already written in C standard libraries. That is the reason we have to use this function. That is the reason we have included that function file in this particular program. Got it? Once you run it, the output is welcome to the C programming. Whatever string you have written here gets executed and showed to you. This is a basic program that can be executed in C program. Okay. Let's see next how to set up the development environment for C. Everyone will have their own laptops, right? For in previous slide, I have written a code and I said once you execute this in the terminal, you will get the output. Sir, where we have to execute it? You need an environment. You need some software to write and execute this particular command. For that, let's see. There are several ways to do it, okay? And this is whatever the way I'm going to say is a best way that can be used across the companies. Visual Studio is a Microsoft tool. Microsoft company has developed this Visual Studio tool. How to download this tool? You just have to go to browser and type Visual Studio download. Then it will route to this particular page. You just select whatever feature, software version, flavored version is needed. Let's say you are working on Windows machine. Then you select the Windows machine and once you click it, it will allow you download. Let's you want to work, you are working on Unix or Linux machine. Then take this. You are working on Mac. Then take this. I'm working on Mac. Once you click on it, then it will automatically show the download option here. Once it gets downloaded, I'm just canceling the download. I already had it. Okay. Once you just download it, right, you will get like this. Once you double click on it, you'll get an entity like this. Once you double click on it again, it will ask some permission, accept it and press on continue. Then download gets installed. Once you install, it will show like this. Okay. Now, how to run the C program in this? In the first place, let me close these files. In the first place, you will be having this type of environment. Okay. This type of environment. To run any programming language, as I said, C programming language, it needs a compiler. So why we have chosen Visual Studio is Visual Studio has something called extensions, market space. This marketplace will have whatever coding language you prefer. It will have all extensions in it. I want C and C++. So I just search here C/C++. Enter. So if you see, right, this is the name of the extension and this is who has developed it. So this is developed by Microsoft, and this is some another person. They also can contribute. Okay. So always install the extension from Microsoft. Click on it. Then here I have already installed. That's why it is coming as uninstall and disable. For the new person, it will come as install. Click on install. It just takes 1-2 seconds. Once it installed, that's it. Okay. Once it gets installed, that's it. Second thing is you just have to, write a program. Whatever program I have shown in the PPT, right? The same program I have kept over here. Once you kept over here, then what else you have to do it here is you have to do something called compiler. Compiler is very, very important. So if you use this Visual Studio and do this extension, add this extension, then what will happen is the compiler will automatically gets downloaded for you. If you are not using Visual Studio, then you have to install a compiler called GCC compiler, which is needed for the C programming to compile and run the program. Okay. So, sir, how to install, most of the people doesn't know, right? Where is GCC compiler gets used. So you just have to use GCC compiler, and this is the compiler platform. So GCC GNU is an organization. They have developed these. You just have to take the latest version, just download, and again click on continue next. Just install it. Okay. Once you install it, that's it. If you want to run the program, then there are two ways. Okay. One is through terminal, you can run it. Another one is you can directly run from here. Okay. If you click on run, it will ask you to select which compiler to use. The first one is Clang. Mac OS will have by default a compiler called Clang, which is nothing but C language compiler. If you read it together, it is called Clang. If you explicitly divide this is nothing but C language compiler. You can use Clang, or you can use, as I said, GCC compiler. Most of the companies, all the software companies use GCC compiler. Just click on GCC compiler. So once you click on GCC compiler, right, then build finished successfully. That means your compiler has compiled the code which you have written and generated the object file. How would I know whether it has generated the object file or not? I'll show you that. Before that, just go to debug console. Debug console is a GCC compiler console. So after executing this, I am using here printf. Printf is nothing but it will print on the console whatever you have written. Here I have written welcome to C programming. You see here, right? The output welcome to C programming got printed on the console. Okay. This is one way to do it. There is another more way to do it, which is my favorite way. I'll, okay, just show you the another way. Go to view, terminal. Okay. This terminal gets, opened. Now you just have to go to the path where is your C file present. I already in the same path. I already in the same path. I have written the file. That file name is nothing but sample.c. So if you see, right, there are sample.c and sample.dsym. Sample.c is my file which I have opened and shown over here. Sample is nothing but object file. This is the object file. You have seen right here, build successful, which is nothing but object file got created by the compiler. And apart from that, there is some file, another file which is called DSIM. DSIM is nothing but direct simulation file. This is also needed to simulink the hardware and software. To interact between hardware and software, DSIM is needed. Now, sir, what is the way how to run this program? Samples out. There is something called instruction make. Make and just give file name. Enter. Make sample. Then sample is up to date. I have already ran on it. That is why my object file is generated already. Okay. Once you have generated the object file, just give like this dot / and the file name. Then you will get the, if you see, right, you got the output. What is output? Welcome to the C programming. If you are very much interested and you are fascinated about terminals and these instructions, then follow this logic, or else you don't want that, just click on here and run. Then automatically in debug console, you will get the output. These are the two ways. Which way is easier to you? You can use that way. Good to go. We are having a program, sample program, and it got ran, and we have seen the output in both manners. Back to our PPT. So you know how to install and set up the C environment now. Next one is next we will see is what are the keywords and identifiers that are present in the C programming. As I said to you, there are already defined libraries, functions, variables, values. We should be aware of that to use it, right? That is the reason we should know that what it is. The first one is keywords and identifiers in that character set. Character set is nothing but it has alphabets, letters, and some special characters. Special characters like slash, dollar, percentage, ampersand, star, brackets, those are called as special characters. Alphabets, you know, right? Uppercase, lowercase, ABCD till XYZ. Lowercase is ABC till small xyz. In C programming, right? Uppercase and lowercase are not same. Whereas other programming languages, it will be same. Example, Python. But in C, both will have separate meaning in C. And numerical values like digits, which are 0, 1, 2, 3, and still 9. So these are the digits which we can use in C programming. As I said you, the special characters are tilde, exclamation mark, number sign, dollar sign, percentage, caret, asterisk. These are all we can use, in our programming language. Next comes to keywords. What are the different keywords we have used? Keywords before going to keywords, we should understand what is meant by keyword. Keyword is nothing but it is already predefined and reserved words that are present in our programming language. This keyword is not only present in C, it will be present in every programming language. What is the use of it? Let's say, take one example. Okay. Int, struct, double, auto. These are some names are there, right? These are already defined in our standard library. Let's say you want to do addition of two numbers. How you will be doing addition of two numbers? You have to give numerical number 1 and numerical number 2. In between, you have to tell a plus symbol to add. That is what you know. Humans know a digit is called numeric. Plus symbol is nothing but special character or addition. But how we will tell to the machines, right? For that purpose only, keywords are derived. Keywords, once you use the keyword, it indirectly tells the machine compiler that that particular variable is of which sort of data type. Example, if you tell int a, that means a is a numerical value. It holds a numerical value, right? It holds a numerical value. And this is the classic example for keywords. And this keywords concept is present in every programming language. Now, these keywords are part of the syntax where they cannot be used as an identifier. Very important thing. It cannot be used as an identifier because they are already pre-defined and compiled as well. Very standard instruction library. In this standard instruction library, during compilation process, this gets compiled with respect to predefined functions. As you know, C is a sensitive language. It always to be written in a lower letters. Keywords should not written in caps letters or caps and lowers mixed. It should be always written in lower letters. This table shows you frequently used keywords in C programming, which is auto, break, case, char, continue, do, default, const, double. These are all etc. You will get to know while course is progressed. You'll get to know and used to every of this. Next one is variable and constants. In any programming language, right, you should know what is a variable, what is a constant. Variable is nothing but a container. It's just a storage kind of medium to hold the data, whatever you want to proceed. Let's say example is I have asked you to do a addition, which needs a two numbers, number one and number two. That is a dynamic number, right? User can change any number at any time. That means how a machine or a program should know this is a dynamic number. So we have to declare this in form of variable. Consider this is a package, okay? When you go to grocery stores, right, you buy 20 to 30 articles or 30 different items. How you will take these 30 entire items to your home? He has to give separate box or cover or something to pack all these items inside this cover. Cover is same, but all the items are different inside this cover. Let's say you have bought only one item and you want to take that to your home. Now, that supermarket person will give you a cover to you to keep that item inside the cover and you can take. Let's say today you brought banana fruit. Tomorrow you can buy X and he will give the same cover. If you see right here, banana is different item, egg is different item, but cover is same. This is the difference. Here cover is nothing but a variable. A variable will holds our data inside a container, like a container. This data can vary with respect to user. It can be an integer, it can be a string, it can be whatever. It can be a character as well. Each storage area will have, every variable will have different naming convention. And one name should not be the same of other. You should not create a duplicate names. Every variable will have a unique names. Variable names are just symbolic representation of memory location. End of the day, these are numbers will be stored in your memory, laptop memory, while running the program. These locations are will be there, right? Let's say 1 KB of data, 2 KB of data. This serial data, you want to access the hold of this data. For that purpose only, these variables are derived. This variable will have access to this particular memory location. Let's say you have declared a integer variable. Integer variable will have 4 bytes of data. These 4 bytes of memory inside your laptop or a machine gets occupied or blocked by this variable. A user can input 4 bytes of data to this variable. Let's say user can input only 1 byte of data only. Still, rest 3 bytes are also kept allocated to this particular variable only. It is not used, right? Still, why we are, wasting our memory? Yes, we need to allocate this entire amount of memory to this variable. So to minimize this memory consumption, there are several topics which we can discuss further. But these are the fixed allocation that is dedicatedly given to this particular type of variable. So while writing the program, you have to give a meaningful names to this variable. You, for your reading purpose or in future, if you want to see, open the file and see whatever the code you have written and understand. For that understanding purpose, you need to name the variables properly. Example is first name FIRST NAME. is better variable than fn. If you write fn is equal to a initial, you won't understand. Now you can understand while running the program, but after 1 month, if you open and see fn is equal to a means what is this fn, why it is equal to a, you won't understand, right? Instead of doing that, if you write it as first name, okay, this is the first name of the user, you'll understand like that. So writing or keeping the meaningful names to the variables is very, very important and a very good practice in C programming. Not only in C programming, in any programming. Once you declared the variables, you cannot change it. Because C programming is top to bottom approach. So all variables gets declared in the top of the program. So it cannot be changed. For example, int and number is equal to 5. Int is a data type. We are telling what is the type of the variable. It should hold integer or it should hold a string, and what is the size of it. All this information will be told by this data type. We'll see what is data type also. And this is a number, so I have kept a variable, a meaningful name as number. Next one is literals. Literals are data used for representing the fixed values. They can be used directly in the code. For example, 1, 2.5c, etc. Here 1, 2.5c are called as literals. You cannot assign different values to these terms. These are already fixed values. It will represent a value to these particular names. For example, integer in it. Integer is also a literal. A literal is a numerical. Integer is nothing but a numerical literal, which will can hold a fractional value. It shouldn't hold a fractional value. Integer will hold always a base value. And what type of integers it can hold in C programming is a decimal, octal, hexadecimal. Decimal is base 10. What is meant by base 10? It will have a range of literals from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These 10 numbers are called as base 10. The count of these literals are 10. That is why it is called base 10. Decimals are base 10. So examples of it is 0, -9 and 22 like that. So on. Next one is octal. Octal is nothing but base is 8. What is meant by that? It starts with 0 and ends till 7. That is the reason it will have 8 literals. So it is called as octal number system. Next one is hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is base 16. So how it can have 16 count of literals? In numerical digits, we are having only 0 to 9, right? Which is 10. After that, what are the remaining 6 hexadecimals it will have? Literals it will have. It is nothing but A, B, C, D, E, F. A represents 10, F represents 16. So A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, E is 14, F is 15. From 0 to 15 is nothing but 16 count. That is called hexadecimal. Next one is floating point. Floating point is nothing but it is also a numerical literal, but it have something called fractional form or an exponential form. Example, if you see here, -2.0 is a negative number. It's a negative number with dot 0 is there. Dot after that you have values also. You see the second number, all zeros after dot and 234. This is the fractional form of the number. Next is an exponential form. If you want to write 10 power minus 5, then you will write it as e minus 5 or 0.22 e minus 5 like that. E minus 5 is 10 power minus 5 and you multiply 0.22 also to this, then it becomes 0.22 into 10 power minus 5. It's like that. Okay. Next one is character. Characters. These characters are nothing but strings, a literal. like alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and it can hold integers as well, and it can hold special characters as well. So some of them example is A, M, F, 2, and curly braces close. Very important thing we should remember is here, these all single literal has to keep always in open and close quotation mark. Compiler will understand, then only compiler will understand it is a character literal. Otherwise, it cannot understand it's a character literal. Next is escape sequences. It is very necessary to use these characters in our daily life programming. I'll tell you why. One is, if you see right, \b. What is meant by this? In your coding language, if you use this \b in printf or somewhere, it means that it's a backspace. F is a form feed, N is a new line, R is a return. /t is a horizontal tab. Vertical tab is /v. It example, if you want to give a space between one sentence and next sentence, you just use a space function in it. That is nothing but this. If you want to write one sentence first and second sentence next to the first sentence, then you use /r. That returns one line to the next line. Okay. Next one is string. We seen character. Character is nothing but it will hold just one single letter, literal. A character is a subset of string. String is a superset of character. That means a group of characters can be called as string. How a compiler will understand and make a difference between a character and a string is, a character is defined with single quotation, but a string is defined with double quotation, which is good. Next is constants. A variable whose values cannot be changed. Let's say you are telling a apple is 10 rupees and this apple is 10 rupees forever. Then a particular person buys 10 apples, another person buys 20 apples, another person buys 100 apples. If you want to bill them, then you need a calculator. In that, you writing a program, price of the apple is equal to 10. That means you can use that variable price of the apple everywhere in your code. And once it is declared in the top of the function, it won't change, right? In future, if you want to change it, you can also change by changing the value. But in future, you don't want to change and you never want to change. Then in that situation, what you have to do is, before that variable name, you have to give a keyword called const, C-O-N-S-T. This will serve a special purpose while declaring the variable itself. That means this pi is pi. Pi is a mathematical value 3.14. In future, if you want to change or assign a new value to this variable, compiler will not accept this new value. It will ask you to change your value. It will by throwing an error. Why? Reason is you have declared in the start of the function saying that const keyword before this variable. This specifically tells that this is a fixed value given to this variable. You cannot change or modify any value during this programming. What are the different types? How we can change it? The first type is using a keyword called const. Second type is /define. This is a pre-process directive. This is a pre-processed directive that can be directly used while writing the function. Slash define can also be used in this. Now we have to understand one thing. We studied all this, right? Went through all these slides. Now, very, very important thing is you cannot give any name as your own or any way of defining the variable. There are some rules and regulations while writing the names. First one is you have to write a valid identifier name in the letters, both uppercase and lower letters or digits or underscores. First letter of this identifier should be either letter or underscore. You should not give a special character or something else during these variables. You cannot use keywords like int, while. These are all do while. These are keywords, right? Auto, const as a variable names. Because these particular keywords are already defined in standard libraries, already used in standard libraries. They have their own specific job to do. That is the reason you should not name the keywords like this, literals like this. There is no rule how long of identifier can be. It can have n number of letters in it. But some compilers has some restrictions. If it has more than 31, right, it will still execute the code, but it takes time to execute. So, end of the day, we should name the variables or identifiers a meaningful names and assign some values to it clearly. Coming to the data types. What are the several data types present in C? First one is, and respective sizes are also allocated. First one is int. Int is nothing but an integer. This is from 0 to 9. Can have any value from 0 to 2 power 34. It's a positive number. Next is char. Char, the size of the char is 1 byte. Next, float. Size of the float is 4 bytes. Double is 8 bytes. That means if you are having very big number, then you have to use double instead of int, which means double is twice of the int. Next is short int. If you are having very small numbers, right, and it will not cross more than 2 bytes, then just use short int to save your memory. Now you have negative numbers. At that point of time, you have to use data type called unsigned int, which is a negative number. Next, long int. If you have very big number, you can use long int. Next one is long int. Next one in unsigned long int, unsigned long int. So double times the integer with positive and with negative. Unsigned means negative. Wherever unsigned is coming before the data type, then that is called, it will hold only the negative numbers. Signed char, unsigned char. Again same. Positive plus and negative character. Long double. Double is itself is 8 bytes. Long double is double of it. So it will vary from 10 to 16. Why it varies actually? It can be like integer or some character or float fixed number, right? Why it is varying? This again depends on the processor speed. The processor is having 32-bit processor or 16-bit processor or 48-bit processor. Based on that, this long double will adjust. So we'll go define one by one. Integer will have always 0 or positive. Like example 0, -5 and 10 example. So it can have both signed and unsigned. Size is usually 4 bytes, which is 32 bits. It can take maximum 2 power 32, which is nothing but from this number to this number. In between this number, any number it can take. Float and double, both the holds the real number. Char, as I said, it has only single letter. It's a literal. and size of it is only 1 byte. Next, void. This is very beautiful, data type which is used in C programming. If you are nothing to do anything, if you no need to write or no need to send or no need to process any input, then you can use void. Void is nothing but an incomplete type. It means it doesn't hold anything, barely nothing. And the value associated to this variable doesn't create anything. And if you create it also, it won't create any void type. Next, short and long. If you need to use a large number, more than int, whatever range I have shown, then use this long. And use a short number, then use a short. Next, signed and unsigned. As I said, signed is a positive, unsigned is a negative range. And it again holds 0 to positive is signed, 0 to negative is unsigned. Range of it is like this: minus 2 power 31 and 2 power 31 minus 1, and 0 to 2 power 31 and 0 to 2 power 32 minus 1. Integer is a combination of signed and unsigned. If you want specifically, you don't want negative numbers to be interacted, and specifically a positive number, then you have to use these type of data types and keywords. Next type is Boolean. Boolean has only two states. Either it holds only two values, either true or false. True is 1, false is 0. If you have only two states, example, you want to switch on the light. On switch off the light, there is only two states associated to the light, right? Either you can switch on the light or switch off the light. Anything that has only two states and you want to represent those two states in programming language, then use Boolean. Read up. Next one is enumeration. Enumeration is very frequently used data type in a programming language. This is another user defined data type. It is mainly used to assign either names or literal constants, integral constants. Example, enum of week. Example, if you see, the declaration is like this: enum week. Week is a name of this enumeration, enum. And what values it will hold is inside the values of this flower bracket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7 days of a week is held by name week enum. What is the value associated to this string, sir? In this, it starts from 0 and ends to 6. All valid C programs must contain a main function. Without main function, C program, it won't starts also, it won't execute. Whatever code you want to execute, it should begin inside the main function. Printf is already said, it is a library function present in standard.io.h header file. If you want to use printf, you have to include them in the standard.io.h file in your inclusion list. If your main function has something to return to the function, whatever it executes, then how it will be known is based on the function type. This main and closed and open brackets is called function. The associated data type through this function tells that what type of values gets returned once it gets executed. Here in this example, we have kept int. It is nothing but integer. So integer means once you execute this function, then you will get a value that is in the form of numerical. Okay. Next, if you want to take a number or input from the user, any value from the user, then you have to use scanf. C programming, scanf is commonly used in programming. What it tells is, if you need to take an input from the user, then you have to use scanf. This function is already declared in again standio.h utility. You just have to use this keyword scanf. Example program for the same is, you want a value to be taken from the user. So scanf is present in standard utility function. So do this inclusion list, include /include stdio.h. Then you want to return value. So derivative of the function is int. Then main function, go to the function inside the curly braces. You have to write your program. So you want to take a variable to store the value written by the entered by the user. So for that you need to take a variable. And what is the type of the variable? Type of the variable is integer. So I will write as int test integer is a variable name I've given. If you see, right, the format is same. I'm not starting with any special character. I'm starting with lower alphabet and mixed alphabets. Printf means I want to print something on the terminal. So enter an integer. Once program is run, user will see this string like this. The right side of it is the output. Enter an integer. So once it is done, then user will enter a number 4 as per this program. How the program will identify that value, whatever entered by the user, is using scanf function. In this scanf function, it will have to use a percentage %d because it's an integer. Scanf has specific preprocessor types. If you are having integers, then you have to use percentage %d. If you are having strings, then you have to use percentage %s. If you are in characters, then you have to use percentage %c. And address of the variable. The address of the variable is nothing but ampersand variable name. This is the way you will tell the name. Then printf. Printf is again to print the number. It's a dynamic number, right? That is the reason you have to keep the number is equal to percentage %d. This percentage %d tells that your variable value, which is test vector. So whatever you entered 4, the number 4 will be printed on the terminal. And once after that, running of this main function, return is 0. So 0 gets returned at the end of this function execution. As I talked about several formats, right? Format specifiers in scanfs. What are the several format specifiers we use? If you want to accept an integer from a user, percentage %d, or prints to a terminal, percentage %d, character percentage %c, float f, double float is lf, short int hd, unsigned int u, long int li, long int is double li, unsigned long int is lu, unsigned long int is LLU. Signed character is C. Unsigned character is C. Again, same. There is no difference. Long double is LF. These are the format specifiers you have to specify in your program while scanf or printf to print or take the inputs from the user. Next is operators. What are the several operators and operations you can perform? An operator is a symbol that operates between a variable or a value. Let's say you want to perform a mathematical operation such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division on the numerical values. Then you can use these operators: plus, minus, star, slash, percentage. Plus is addition, minus is subtraction, star is multiplication, slash is division, percentage is remainder after division. This is also called as modulo division. It doesn't give you the divisor, it gives you the remainder. Remember, okay? Now next is a operator is increment and decrement. Increment operator and decrement operator. So the programming, if you want to increment the value by once, You don't need to write a variable name plus one, a variable name plus one again and again. You just use variable after plus plus or variable before plus plus. There are two types again. One is pre-increment, next one is post-increment. So the pre-increment increases the value 1 before executing the particular instruction. Post-increment uses the value after executing the instruction, it will increment. These are the unary operators. It doesn't need multiple variables to be performed. On single variable, you can do this operation. Example program is this. So you take an integer variable a is equal to 10, b is equal to 100. And a float c is equal to 10.5, d is equal to 100.5. And you are printing this. Now printing plus plus a minus minus b plus plus c minus minus d. So what is happening here? It's a pre-increment. If you are writing plus plus before variable, that means pre-increment you are doing. So initially a is 10, now plus plus a is 11. It will increment by ones. B is 100, decrements by ones, which is 99. C is 10.5, increment by 1. D is decrement by 1, 99.5. So assignment operator. What is this assignment operator? If you want to assign a value to a variable, then we will use assignment operator. Example, you use a is equal to b. That means whatever value b is holding, a will also hold the same. Next is plus is equal to. That is nothing but before assigning to a value a to value a from b, you do operation on b. That is nothing but a plus b. Once you perform this operation a plus b, then assign to the value a. That is represented by plus is equal to. A is equal to minus b, which is nothing but you subtract a value a minus b and assigned to a. Same represents multiplication, division, and percentage. This percentage is nothing but modulo division. Next one is relational operators. In these relational operators, it's very easy if you are comparing something or establishing a relationship between two operands, then you will use relationship operator. If this relation is true, that means whatever assignments you are doing to correlate the relation between these variables, then if it is true, then it returns 1. If it is false, it returns 0. This all relationship operator, relational operator, always returns the Boolean operators. So once of that is double is equal to. That means if 5 double is equal to 3, it gets evaluated by the instruction of compiler. Then it will tell that if it is true, then it will evaluate as 1. If it is false, then evaluate as 0. In this scenario, 5 never equal to 3, right? That is the reason it will throw you 0. Like greater than, less than, not equal to, less than equal to, greater than equal to, in the same way. 5 less than 3, 5 greater than 3, 5 not equal to 3, 5 less than or equal to 3, greater than or equal to 3. In these statements, whatever the relation it holds and correlates, the respective outputs will be seen over here. Next is logical operator. And this logical operator will tell you either operates an operation between two operands. So if you use double ampersands, it is nothing but logical AND. Example, if C is 5 and D is 2, then what you have to do is C double is equal to 5, logical operator double and D greater than 5 is equal to 0. Reason, both are not valid. Example, C is equal to 5, true, but D is wrong. 2 greater than 5 is wrong. So logical and operator works only if both are true, then only true. In all other cases, it is false, right? So here our judgment of the instruction is 0. If you want to handle this type of logical expressions, you have to use logical operator. Next is OR operator. Next is NOT operator. The same way you can use for the NOT operator and OR operator as well. That is logical operator. If you use doubles. If you use a single one, that is called bitwise operator. Bitwise operators, like you can do mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. Everything computation in a bit level and process very faster. If you want to execute your program very faster, you have to use these bit operators instead of logical operators. Again, it performs the same value and is given as bitwise, and slash is given as bitwise, or tilde is bitwise complement, less than, greater than, left shift and right shift. Next is comma separator user. So one classic example is if you are having two variables and you want to assign values to it. So this is a way you can assign. The first value A gets assigned with 5 and second value C gets assigned with D. How a compiler will know this? A compiler uses this comma operator function, which tells that the first value will be mapped with first value, second value will be mapped with second value. This is the use of comma operator. You can keep n number of names and n number of values associated to each other. It's a one-on-one mapping. It is not one-to-many mapping. Next one is expressions. Expressions is nothing but a formula in which operands are linked to each other. It can be a bitwise operator or a computational operator as well. This operand can be a functional reference. This can be a variable or array or constant. It can be anything. Example, if you see the first example, the arithmetic operation 2 plus bracket 1 star 2 multiplication and divide, the answer of it is 2. How it came to? It's very simple. It follows a BODMAS rule. First, it will execute bracket, then it will follow the rest of the things. That's where the arithmetical operations exist. Next is relational operations, where it requires a comparison between two its. Next, logical expressions also. Logical expressions, again, I said it's a double ampersand, double or, double negation, like that. Not also same. Next, conditional expressions. You have a condition, and in that condition, after executing that condition statement, you want to tell what is the output of the execution, whether it is true or false, or it can have anything. In this place of true, you can keep any number of value, 5 colon 10, like that. If the statement is true, the first part gets printed. If the statement is false, second part gets printed. That is a way. Next one is control structures. In this control structures, these are the several things we use. If else, for loop, while loop, break and continue, switch case, and go to. We'll see this in tomorrow's class. Let's see two problems. Okay, about today's concept. The first one is character classification program. In this character classification program, I am using two directories here. One is standardio.h and ctype.h. ctype.h is a header file, standardio.h is also exit file. How I am writing a function? So I am writing now int main function. Inside it, the return type of this function is an integer. Now after going it, I am taking a variable. That variable name is ch. Data type of that variable is character. Now after that, what I'm doing? I'm printing printing something on the terminal using enter a character. This is a string gets printed. Once that is done, then scanf. So user get input something. So that value, that name I have to take it. For that I'm using scanf. Now I am processing some checks, conditional checks over here. If ch is a variable that gets processed, right? Passed from the user. Is upper is an function that is present in C type dot h header function. So what this is upper does, how this function gets written, all be present in C type dot h function. Okay, you no need to write anything. You just have to include this particular header file. You can use this function directly. So the name itself tells that is upper, right? That means if it is an uppercase, then this condition gets implemented by true. Then it goes to here and prints uppercase letter. If it is an uppercase entered by the user, then it prints uppercase letter. And slash n shows that it's a next line, right? In this printing, right, it will go and print the next line. Next, else if this condition is not proper. So user entered a lowercase. Then is lower is a function which evaluates that, and if it is true, then it's print. If it's a digit, then it gets evaluated again and it prints digit. No, if user entered a special character, else part is a special character. These are only the possibilities that user can enter, right? That is the reason these are the several conditional checks we have written over here. At the end, you are returning 0. So as it is an integer data type function, so it returns 0. So it gets classified with these checks, and at the end, it gets executed over here. Okay, let's run this program. Okay, how to do it? First of all, you have to create a makefile for this. Object file. Okay, once this is done, then run the object file. So here in this object file, it is asking enter a character. You see, right, in the start of the program, the instruction, the compiler went over here, on that executed, first, second executed, in this line, sixth line, it is in. Now it is asking me to enter what? Some value. Let's say I enter this capital A. Just if you enter, if you see, right, it gets evaluated in this instruction set, and it is telling that capital A matches with the capital A, right? Upper. So that is why it is showing you the uppercase letter. If you observe, this print is not coming in the next line directly. It is coming not adjacent to each line. It is coming in the next line. Why? Because of this slash n. This slash n is needed if you want to print the line in the next line. Okay, let's say, let's use the next one. Now I will enter small a, whether see whether it will say the lowercase or not. Yes, it says that it's a lowercase. The reason is small a, right? So this is lower function defined in C type dot h. It gets evaluated and tells us that it's a lowercase function. So this condition is false. This condition is true. So it goes inside the condition only if it is true. Next one we will try again. Next one is a character digit. Let's say I enter 9. So it tells that it's a digit. Okay. Next one, if I enter a special character like this, it says that it's a special character. This is how it gets executed one by one. So it checks from the first one. No, it won't go. Condition is false. So it executes next. Condition is false. Next. Condition is false. Next. Condition is true. Else part is nothing but O. Other than these three, the rest all comes under this else part. Okay, that's why the entered value is a special character. Hope this class and session is useful to you people. Thank you.